This is our city. And nobody gonna dictate our freedom. Stay strong.
Dylan McGordy, it's moments like that that endeared David Ortiz to Bostonians. Not just what he did in that batter's box, especially in the month of October, where he was one of the most feared and revered hitters in the history of Major League Baseball, but he seemed to gravitate to and connect with Bostonians despite being from a different country.
Right. Not even being, from the walls of the city of Boston or Southie or something, but totally is forever a Bostonian. Made yesterday, changing Yawkey Way to David Ortiz Drive.
He's going to have his number 34 retired, which is no surprise. Yawkey Way becoming David Ortiz Drive. It begs the question that we can debate here at the bar. Is he the greatest Red Sox of all time?
All right, let's hammer this out.
Okay.
Work with me here, right?
Okay.
Now, neither of us saw Ted Williams, neither of us saw Yaz. Those guys have to be in consideration. Right. I think of the current crop, the winning crop of Red Sox, I think he stands above Pedro and Manny. Can you agree there?
Agree.
So, as beloved as Pedroia, as beloved as Varitek, it's Ortiz of the current crop. So that means you compare him to Yaz, you compare him to Ted Williams. I don't think he's near the player Ted Williams totally was, as far as, where he stands in ranking of baseball players. That being said, where he rests in the heart of Boston fans, it's that kind of stuff. It's the charisma. It's the nickname, the Big Papi. It's our bleeping city. Mm-hmm. He was so beloved. So many Red Sox fans love Ted Williams, but with the media gripe and never taking a curtain call because he hated the media, and some of that bled over to the fans, and the fans just wanted more from the Splendid Splinter.
Sure.
I think some of that personality that just rubbed off in such a joyous way to watch Big Papi play, I'm going to put him over Ted. Plus,
you're going to put him over Ted?
I'm going to make that case because you also have rings. You also have that thing that Ted could not produce.
Right.
And
That's
to no fault
That's correct.
Of Ted Williams.
That's correct.
He's got 3 rings, and he was a huge part of those 3 rings, coming up with enormously timely hitting in those World Series and leading up to the World Series and the 04 ALCS against the Yankees. Unthinkable comeback. Again, something Yaz doesn't have. Yaz got that Triple Crown, and Ted hit 400, but Big Papi delivered rings, delivered charisma, told those people it was our city and you cannot tread on our freedom. Yaz and Ted don't have that.
I agree. They don't have that, especially the rings. And you know me, normally I say evolution tells us that the most recent great is better than the past great. But Ted Williams, next to Babe Ruth, they're the 2 greatest hitters to ever play the game of baseball. Hands down. You cannot argue it. It's Ted Williams and it's Babe Ruth. So in this vein, even though Ted never won a World Series championship, it is the ultimate team sport, baseball. It is an individual sport maxed in a team sport. I mean, if you hit 400 the way Ted Williams did, your team should be damn good enough to...
406, don't slide him.
406, exactly. I mean, it's not like it was Ted's fault. The Red Sox weren't... He made them better than they ever could have imagined at that time.
The fact that they even competed with those juggernaut Yankee teams of the 40s and into the 50s just showed how great Ted was.
I'll put Ted number 1. I'll put David Ortiz number 2 because I do think the huge gap between talent, and that's the credit I'm giving Ted Williams. That says nothing about David Ortiz, who's one of the great hitters of our generation. But to me, the huge gap in hitting talent between David Ortiz and Ted Williams, it's shrunk by the charisma and the championships, but that doesn't bring him above Ted Williams for me. Carl Yastrzemski is a distant third to those 2. For me. Yaz was great. Yaz was great.
They loved Pudge up there with the fist waving it fair.
Absolutely.
But I think we can narrow down to those 3. And it's hard because we didn't see Ted, we didn't see Yaz. We're a little too young for that. But as just true fans of the game, you study the numbers, you study how adored Yaz and Teddy Ballgame were. You're going to get no argument from me that Ted is a way superior player. Then, you know me, I'm a freaking Yankee fan. I call him a glorified. He's a DH. He's a one-trick pony. Obviously, I'm being harsh because I hated him with a hate that only respect.
I did too. He beat my St. Louis Cardinals twice in a World Series. As much as you hate him, probably a little bit more, but it's not like I'm far behind as much as I hate the Boston Red Sox. But damn it, I respect David Ortiz for what he was able to do.
I don't respect you. Then you have no ground to speak of the game of baseball if you can't respect David Ortiz and what he's done for that city, what he meant. There's so many things. Just the nickname. Big Papi. That took, like,
Sure.
if his nickname was something less cool or less befitting of him, it took him to this, like, other stratosphere of cool that Red Sox fans just adored. There goes Big Papi. It's just something that I think, for me, I'll make the case with the winning, with the charisma, with the bleeping city. He was the opposite of fighting with the media, of not taking. He was the king of the curtain. He'd stand on that top step. Oh, who wants a wave? Let me blow kisses.
We gotta give this to Teddy Ballgame, though. His service to the country.
5 years.
And imagine if those 5 years were spent playing baseball instead.
521 or something home runs. What would he have? He missed 5 years of his prime.
That's why he's the greatest hitter of all time.
John Wayne.
That's why he's the greatest hitter of all time. He would have smacked. It would be not Barry Bonds, not Hank Aaron. It'd be Ted Williams, who had the most career home runs, most RBIs. He's without question the greatest hitter, right there with Babe Ruth in the history of Major League Baseball history. That's why I'm going to give him the nod. You're going David Ortiz. I won't argue. We need you to settle this debate. Use the hashtag the rally and join the fun. What were you going to say?
Ted always said he wanted to be told, you know, when he walked down the street, there goes the greatest hitter that ever lived. So let me paint a picture here for you. Ted's walking down the street on this sidewalk. Big Papi's on this sidewalk. And some Red Sox fan is going to go, there goes the greatest hitter that ever lived. But there goes my favorite Red Sox.
That's probably what they're going to say. Well said, Dylan McGorty. Again, hashtag is the rally. Help us settle this debate. Greatest Red Sox of all time. You going Papi? You going Splendid Splinter? Or do you have another name to throw out there?